that maybe you ask somebody else a question, please. I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of incoherent, and I'm not. Go on. Somebody want to.
This isn't a question, but it's actually related to your comment. I think that I have a similar reaction to that, and I just wanted to talk about that too. That I think that the communication problem where we're getting our wires crossed is that, what is the dance? What makes up the dance? And is it each individual's experience of it, or is there something that exists beyond or separate from the individual and their individual experience? And the other thing is that to think that dance doesn't die, I think, is an unrealistic claim. Think back to when you were 5 or just 5 years ago. Do you remember precisely every single event that happened to you? What remains of it still today? Is that exactly the event that you experienced the first time, or is it a trace of that event? Another thing, I think you were talking about that was the original, and this is just a precision problem. It's a copy of the original, and I know that's a mechanical reproduction and it copies well, but it's still a copy.
I can still remember the dance of the flowers that I did when I was 7 years old, and to music from the Nutcracker when I was a ballet student. And I can remember it even though I haven't done it for 43 years. So in that sense, I think you can remember through muscular memory some of those things.
Yeah, but do you remember every dance?
I think, let me just say one thing too. I think we're looking at some pretty relative ideas about time and the moment and memory and who we are at that moment and how we're perceiving. I remember Betty DeJong when I was 18 and I saw her dance live. Then I saw the recent documentary that Matthew Diamond did. To see her as she is today, and then to see this then was just another remarkable opportunity to see her. Who is she? Well, she's all of those images. Those are moments where she's all of that. And this woman had said it's the giver of the information. Is that what this is about? Well, it's just this place where we meet in time and space. And it's not fixed. It's constantly changing. And I think if we're trying to fix a concept, and we can't even fix the concept, it's all about flux and perception and who we are, and that's just continuously changing. And I think somehow we can, I think we can define or title ourselves into a whole. I think it's a continuously changing experience that includes all of these images. It's all about image and who we are. So.
I have the microphone, and I've been waiting. So it seems to me that it's easy to get attached, and because I am a theater person, that's a debate, an ongoing debate about what is ephemeral, what is not ephemeral. It's easy to become sentimental and attached to what can last and make it a value statement, that what can last is more valuable. I think that the discussion was going in a more interesting direction in the previous days when we were even focusing on the idea of what is scandalous or not and how it can contribute to the development of the field or not. Or on when Noel was speaking earlier today and saying that the material needs to be interesting in itself, to be art, and what is interesting and for whom is it interesting. So I have a feeling that it's easy to just drift away. For me, the discussion is not on what kind of possibilities, which are the impossibilities of dance, so that dance for the camera can cover and make up for them, but which are the possibilities of dance for the camera in itself. So.
Maybe it's time to end?
I think there's a couple more. We can't get.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about what I didn't get to talk about after Noel's talk, and that was we were trying to define what we're doing. And I just wanted to speak briefly on my experience. In the late 80s, when I really realized I couldn't do both, continue performing and pursue video. And I let go of the performing and started doing video. And how I did it was I looked at everything there was to see. I joined a video art club in San Francisco called New American Makers, and I was asked to join the board, and we curated shows for like 4 years, presenting 2 shows a week, or excuse me, 2 shows a month, and seeing so much video art and seeing what is out there compared to this community, and this community goes beyond just us, of course. As dancers, we embody ourselves when we have so much incredible breadth, not just the intellectual mind, but also bringing in spirit and body. And I just really want to encourage us to not pinhole ourselves behind the word dance or marginalize what we're doing, but to bring it out into a broader base, out into the world. That's it.
You know, this is a good time to ask questions of the panelists earlier that didn't get to have any question and answer time either, if you have any.
I have a quick question because I have the mic. To people like Doris and Elaine who have been working in this field for many more years than some of us, I'm curious about the kind of critical or theoretical discussion that went on at that time, if you spent as much time trying to define the definition or say who you were aligned with and who you weren't aligned with. No, just, right.
I think that's very true, Doris. You know, we had our hands full with trying desperately to get our hands on the equipment and support ourselves and all that jazz. But I thought that we went a little bit astray here because the symposium has limited the discussion of film dance. We wanted definitions, and early on, I was adamant about I did not want to document dance. I wanted to use the film to make choreography that could only be happening on a film. And that's, I thought, what everyone's definition seemed to be. But then we got into a very interesting area, which is memory and age. And I am too, you know. And Sally is 7. And she's also 8 and 9, and you're 10. And those parts of us are still us, so that we sort of accumulate. And we have in our memory what we were in terms of movement at 10. I remember Michelle Byrne pinning every dancer down in Energy Changes. There's a very rough section where they push each other on the ground. And one after the other, she put those men right down on the ground, and she's only about 5 feet. And I said, "How did you do that?" And she said, "I'm the sister of a number of brothers." And the first person she did this to, Tedrian, who was very, big guy, he was awed and stunned. So we didn't tell Eddie what was going to happen to him. And Eddie came in, very flexible, terrific. Down on the floor he went in no time at all. So the little girl that Michelle was, and then she's now 30, say, is still right there. And so we all contain inside of our memories all of these parts of ourselves, how we felt, what size we were. You know how when you walk beside your friend and they were very tall and you felt very tiny, and then you walk beside your other friend in the growing process and you were suddenly very tall. And so, and I remember at 10, I discovered I was the tallest person in my class. And I knew that I could never be a ballerina, because when I got those toe shoes on, I would tower above. There'd be no partner for me. There went my whole dance career. And so I think it's a very rich area, but it isn't really what we were talking about. It's another fabulous facet. So let's have another one on that.
Yeah, and maybe that's a good place to stop, and we can continue this discussion after the screening at the bar at the IVN. So I think maybe we should all go eat. Thank you very much.
What are we going to do about pizza, or are we just going to go find?
I think everyone... I need to get there on time and then vamp, because they'll want to start on time, but, huh? Yeah. It's at 7:30, isn't it, the screening? Oh. $7:30 is the screening. Where are you gonna go? I know. Well, hang around. People are talking about eating. There's a couple places right across the street to just walk to. Sally, are you